What's up, Toilet Water Squad? I'm Big P, and these are probably the best pancakes I've ever had. Definitely the best pancakes I've ever made. Some Sunday mornings growing up, my parents would make us butterscotch pancakes with scrapple, and it was awesome. If you don't end up making these exact pancakes, I at least recommend you trying butterscotch chips in whatever pancakes you do make. Also, I turned these pancakes and bacon into an ice cream. So I guess if you want to see that, follow me. I'll have a video on that soon. That was also great. All right, let's get into the pee. A few years ago, I wrote down a pancake recipe from Binging with Babish in my notes app, and I had always used that. But when I made it this time, I tried modifying things to make it more butterscotchy and also just better in general. So I'm gonna point those things out that I changed. And it's possible that sometimes he makes multiple versions in his videos, so it's possible that he did those things too. So if you go and watch his video and see that one of the things that I said that I changed is something that he actually does in the video, then sorry about that. I'm just going based off the Notes app version that I have. So the first thing that I changed was that I browned the butter, because that's going to give you kind of a butterscotchy flavor. We want to end up with 56 grams of unsalted butter after browning it. So you should probably start with 66 grams, because I ended up having less than 56 grams, but it was fine anyway. But I would recommend starting with 66 grams of unsalted butter, which is probably about 4.5 to 5 tablespoons. If you want to skip the browning, you want to at least melt the butter. So like melt it in the microwave or something. That'll make it easier to evenly distribute the butter without mixing too much. And you don't want to mix too much because that'll develop gluten and make the pancakes chewy, which you don't want to do. Browned butter makes everything better though, so you should just brown the butter. Bring it over the stove, put it on medium to medium-high heat until it melts, then maybe turn it down a little bit, and just heat it until the white spots turn brownish, like a golden brown, not too much. It would probably be easier to use a saucepan than what I'm using. All right, now we're gonna mix our dry ingredients. We're starting with 200 grams of all-purpose flour. All of the volume measurements will be in the description. After adding the flour, we're going to add 25 grams of sugar. And then after that, we're adding 3 grams of salt. I'll have volume measurements for Morton kosher salt and Diamond Crystal kosher salt in the description. Sometimes people mix up baking powder and baking soda, but luckily this recipe uses both of them. So you're not going to use one instead of the other, because you'll have to use both. So 11 grams of baking powder, and then 3 grams of baking soda. Once everything's in the bowl, mix it up so that everything is evenly distributed. This is so that you don't have to mix it up later when it's wet, so that you don't have to develop gluten, which again, you do not want. Fill up that toilet tank, because it's wet time. Here's another thing that I changed that you can do too if you want to make the best pancakes possible, but this is probably one that you can skip. You don't really have to do this. I separate the egg yolk from the egg white, and we're gonna add the egg yolk into the wet ingredients, and we're gonna keep that egg white off to the side, and we're gonna whip it up so that there's going to be a bunch of air in it. If you whipped it all up together, the fat from the egg yolk would get in the way of the proteins in the egg white, and it wouldn't be able to trap as much air. So that's why you want to separate it if you do this. And trapping all those air bubbles are going to fill up with steam when you cook them, and it's just going to make the pancake lighter and fluffier. We'll get back to that later though. It was just 1 large egg, by the way. But right now we got to get into another thing that I changed, which was subbing out some of the buttermilk for sour cream. We're going to add 120 grams of sour cream, and that's because sour cream is thicker than buttermilk, so it'll keep the batter thicker, which will make it not spread as much, which will give them more height in the pan and make them fluffier. It also has more fat and more milk solids, which will make the pancakes richer and more tender and help them stay moist longer. And since it's acidic, it'll react with the baking soda to create CO2, which is going to also help these pancakes rise and make them fluffier. And then there'll be more acid left over to help balance the flavor of the pancakes and, make them brighter. And acid is good in everything. Whoa. Next, we're gonna add 360 grams of buttermilk. If you don't want to do the sour cream, you can skip it and use 480 grams of buttermilk, but I really recommend using the sour cream. And that's what I did, so I used 360 grams of buttermilk. Back to the sour cream for a second. It doesn't make it taste like sour cream. It just does functional things. It doesn't do like flavor things. It does mostly functional things. The acidity in it enhances other flavors in the pancakes, but it doesn't make it taste like sour cream. All right, here's another addition that I made: 5 grams of vanilla extract. This is similar to that sour cream, which is that, I mean, if you're looking for the vanilla in it when you're eating it, you can taste vanilla. But if you're not looking for it, it really just enhances everything else. I would say that this was the most important upgrade that I made. Well, this and the sour cream, but I think the vanilla really helped this. I would highly recommend you put the 5 grams of vanilla extract in this. It's like adding vanilla to like a chocolate chip cookie or like a chocolate cake or something. It doesn't make it taste like vanilla. It just helps enhance the perception of the other flavors. And vanilla makes buttery flavors taste richer, and it'll just make the pancakes taste more complete. After that, add in your 56 grams of melted unsalted butter, preferably browned, and stir it all up. I guess I changed some aspect of every single wet ingredient, so I guess that's all the modifications that I made. Once that's thoroughly combined, you want to pour the wet ingredients over the dry ingredients and then fold them in. But you want to fold them in. You don't want to mix it too much. So you want it to be lumpy at the end, because if it's lumpy, that just means that you didn't over-mix it. And we're gonna let this rest for 15 to 20 minutes. So if you just don't want to see any visible dry flour in there. And then if it's lumpy, that's fine. Any dry flour that's in those lumps will hydrate while we're resting it. If you don't have lumps and your batter is smooth, that means you likely overmixed it and you developed too much gluten, and they're not going to be as light and fluffy as they could have been. So cover your bowl and let it rest at room temperature for 15 to 20 minutes. And remember, we still have that egg white on the side. I promise we will get back to that very soon. But first, we're gonna get some bacon ready. The way that I like to do my bacon is I lay it all out on a sheet tray covered in foil so there's less cleanup. And I don't put any oil or anything on the foil. There's enough fat in the bacon. And then I just put it in an oven that is not preheated. And then I turn it on to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I leave it in there for about 20 minutes, and then I check, and then set a timer for 5 minutes usually. And I usually ended up taking it out after 25 minutes, sometimes up to 30. The reason for starting it in a cold oven is because it allows more of the fat to render out of the bacon, and it allows the bacon to become crispier, and I like it crispier. So if you don't like it crispier, then make bacon however you want to make it. All right, it's been 15 to 20 minutes, so I'm getting my egg white ready. I'm just using a whisk and stirring it up until it gets, frothy and foamy and stuff like that. The foam is our indicator that we've whipped air into the egg white, which is good. That's what we're doing. And then we want to fold that egg white into the pancake batter. You don't want to do this before resting it, because the air will then, the weight of everything will push the air out in the time that we're resting it. So you want to do this right before you cook the pancakes. I don't know if you can tell, but the pancakes look a little more hydrated, and that's just from, sitting there. So we've hydrated the pancake batter more without creating more gluten. So that's cool. And then we're stirring in that egg white, folding it in. And oh boy, that batter looks thicker than Kyle Schwarber in Atlanta in June. I decided to measure how many butterscotch chips I started with and how many I ended with, just to give you guys an idea of about how much I use. I don't typically measure this out. I just kind of drop chips on the pancakes, and I think that's how you should do it. But just in case anybody wants to know, I ended up using about 50 grams of butterscotch chips, but I only put butterscotch chips on about half of the pancakes. So for the whole batch, I probably would have used 100 grams of butterscotch chips. If you're here in the future and you're making these pancakes for the ice cream recipe that I'm going to put out for this, don't put butterscotch chips in the pancakes that you're using for the ice cream. I didn't put butterscotch chips in those pancakes. Now, for cooking the pancakes, I think the best way to do it would be with like an electric standalone griddle. I don't have one of those, but if you do, I would recommend using that, because you can get the whole thing in even heat and consistent even heat, so you can cook more at the same time and get an equal result on all of them. If you don't have one of those, I think the next best thing is a well-seasoned cast iron pan like I'm using. And then if you don't have that, then I would say just like a non-stick pan. I don't really think you should do a stainless steel pan, but if you've done it before, then go ahead, do it. But if you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't do that. The pancakes will stick if you don't know what you're doing. You may have noticed that I didn't put any butter or oil or anything in the pan. That's because, well, one, there's enough fat in these pancakes that you're not going to need it. And two, I don't know if you've made pancakes before, sometimes the first pancake is a little bit weird, and that is because of the butter or the fat in the pan. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where like the first one's weird, but then the rest are fine, and that's because the first one's weird because of the butter being in the pan, and then that one soaks up the butter, and then it's not really there for the rest of them. You'll see here when I flip these that I don't have too much trouble, even though I didn't put any fat in the pan. If you're using cast iron, and as long as it's seasoned well and it's preheated well, it won't have any trouble. You know, once it's ready to flip, it'll be able to flip. Speaking of preheating, I preheated this probably on like medium low to medium, somewhere around there, for like 10 to 15-ish minutes, just because I was just doing it in the background while I was doing other things, and just to make sure that I had the whole thing up to temperature, because it's thick and it takes a little bit to preheat, and because you want to preheat it gradually on a low temperature, so that you don't, get the center of it super hot, and kind of mess up your seasoning before the outside edges get warm. My pan is wider than my burner though, which is why I was recommending using the electric griddle. Because this won't always heat it completely evenly. I like to use an ice cream scoop to portion out the pancakes so that they're all about the same size. So that's a 2-ounce ice cream scoop, and I get about 10 pancakes out of that. To me, that's kind of the perfect size for a pancake, but if you want it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, make it whatever size you want. I wouldn't go too much bigger than this though, but do whatever you want. I was just pressing down on that pancake to try and get more contact with the pan from it. I'm not sure if I should be doing that, because that might make it less fluffy. Maybe just to lightly press it down a little bit when you first flip it. But I don't know. Let me know if you know more about that. I'm trying to keep this all in real time for this first 2 pancakes, so you can see how long it takes. For me, it took about 3.5 minutes. So if you had an electric griddle, you could get like half the pancakes done in the first batch, and then the other half in another batch, probably, depending on how big your griddle is, I guess. It might take 3 batches, but for me, for the cast iron pan, it takes about 5 or 6 batches. And while I'm cooking them, I put them on a tray, and then I put them in my toaster oven on the lowest heat setting, on bake, just to keep them warm. All right, I'm gonna speed it up now because these are done. But then we're gonna check the bacon, because it's been 20 minutes in the oven, and they look like they need a little bit more time, but I'll take them out of the oven just to give the camera a better view, and so that we can get a better view of my dirty oven. So for me, I like them done a little more than this, but some people might like them done like this. So just put it in for 20 minutes and check it if that's how you like it. Maybe check it even sooner. So I don't remember why, but from here on out, I started spreading out the pancake, by pushing it down a bit right after putting it in the pan. I would not do that. I think that is a bad idea. I think that is probably ruining some of the stuff that we did with the sour cream and with the whipping of the egg, in terms of keeping these tall. I think I maybe was doing that because it was like spreading out after I put the chips on top, and I wanted it to just be spread out quicker and then put the chips on. That's my best guess of why I was doing that. I'm not really sure. It doesn't really make any sense. I don't do that. Or maybe I was just trying to make it more circular. I don't know. I don't push it down too hard, but I still would just maybe not do that. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to put the scoop in the pan, and then just as quick as you can, just put some chips on top. And then, once you start to see like some bubbles coming up on the top of the pancakes, then it's usually about ready to flip. You can take a little peek and see what the color's looking like down there, and you want it to be pretty golden. That'll be more flavor, and it also, these ended up being like a bit crispy and then fluffy on the inside, which I loved. I really thought these pancakes were perfect. I have a little bit of a hard time flipping them because my spatula is pretty thin, so if you have a thicker spatula, I would recommend using that. I guess by thicker I mean wider. like, you know, like so that it's like more the size of the pancake, so that you don't have like so that it's not like flopping over the side of your spatula when you're trying to flip it. Let's see what it looks like on the other side. Oh, that's a pancake. If you mess it up like I did there, then, you know, you can just untuck it a bit, as long as you do it quickly. If you wait too long, then it'll kind of seal down that way. Here's another nice crisp cake. One gripe that I had with my cooking of these pancakes was that I don't think I cooked the second side enough on most of these, because if you get the butterscotch chips to melt and then start to fry on the pan themselves, and then they get a little bit crispy, that's great. That's awesome. But I didn't have too much of that with these pancakes, so I think I should have cooked them a little bit longer to get more of those fried butterscotch chips in there. This one, you can see it a little bit on it. There's like darker spots, and those are great. The second side that I cook on most of these pancakes ends up looking like that first weird pancake that comes out sometimes. So I guess that's maybe there was fat leaking out of the pancakes, and then when I flip them onto the fat, and that's what caused that. I'm not really sure. Maybe I needed to stir them a little bit more before resting them, so that they kind of emulsify the fat into it better. Or maybe I have the heat up too high and it's letting the fat leak out, and I need to have the heat lower and cook it for a little bit longer instead. I'm not sure. Let me know if you have any advice on that. But I mean, they still came out great, but just the bottom sides looked weird. I decided to plate them with that bottom side facing up because you could see the butterscotch chips on that side. I'm not sure if that was the right call. Maybe I should have done a little bit of both. Like, I don't really know what I mean by that. But yeah, so then I put like a little bit of butter and some maple syrup on top. And honestly, it doesn't even really need either of those things. I mostly did that for the picture. I usually don't put syrup on these because these are sweet enough already. But I would be lying if I didn't say it wasn't delicious, like with the syrup and butter. Yeah, it was great. Maybe taste it before putting any toppings on, just to see what you're getting into. But I would highly actually recommend putting everything on top. It was so good. It was just so good. My eggs look a little weird. Don't worry about that. I'll make an egg video at a different date that's different than these eggs. But also, I made a mistake with the bacon when I took it out. I was rushing with the pancakes, so I forgot to take it off of that tray and get it out of the grease, so the bacon got a little bit soft. So just as a reminder, when you are finished cooking the bacon, take it off of the pan, put it on a plate with some paper towels, just to blot that grease off of it, because if that grease soaks back in, it'll make the bacon soft again. If that does happen, you can just heat the bacon back up again and the grease will come out. If you've made it this far and you're interested in seeing me turn this into ice cream, it's gonna be butterscotch pancake ice cream with bacon in it. Follow me, because that video will be coming out soon-ish. And just if you're interested in any other food or ice cream or water ice videos, just follow and like the video. Do all of those things. Thanks for watching, Toilet Water Squad. Peace.